have severe asthma, and one day I was having a particularly hard time. I took a day off from work from my supervisor and I had a tingling and burning sensation in my chest. I was lying in bed resting. I looked out of the window and a revolving door appeared in front of me. It was so beautiful, it looked like something I had seen before, but I didn't know where. It was constantly changing shape. This entrance was getting bigger and bigger, and a force made me enter that door. What I saw was endless space. It felt like I was in the universe, traveling through it. I could see so far that there are no words to describe how far I could see, or how big this place was. It's more than you can imagine. But it wasn't overwhelming, I could feel my presence. It feels like the whole place is taking care of you, and in this dark space there were all kinds of colors I hadn't seen before, and when I saw new colors it made perfect sense. Everything felt so familiar and unusual at the same time. I could see planets, stars and galaxies. I could feel the earth behind me. I went further and further into the universe, deeper and deeper. I could feel something pulling me toward it. It was calling me. I feel like I'm near the very edge of the universe now. I could feel it. Suddenly, I crossed a boundary and I was now not in the universe. It was the purest white I had ever seen. It is not just a color, it seems to have a texture that cannot be described. There is no concept of time here, and now time has no meaning for me. I can feel myself melting into my surroundings. I can feel everything that existed before I was born, and I can feel millions of years in the future. I couldn't explain it, but it was as if all this knowledge had suddenly been released and given to me. I suddenly knew that life would last forever, and I could feel it. The energy here was so great that I knew nothing could destroy it. This place that I was in must be God's. It is not a person or a creature. It was just a force. And it was so powerful that suddenly, I fell. I was going faster and faster. Everything was turning black. I tried to stop falling, but I couldn't control it. I noticed that I no longer seemed to have a body. Without a body, why was I falling? Suddenly, the falling stopped. I was in a dark space. It was also very silent. There is no one or anything else here. My feelings here are different. There is no joy or excitement here. I don't learn anything there, and I don't interact with anything. In the distance I see a bright light, getting closer and closer. Either I am moving toward it or it is approaching me. In any case, it is now very close to me. I saw a bull, but it was made of fire. It was very large. Flames were burning on its body. The bull walked calmly in the darkness. When I saw the bull, I had a cold feeling, but I didn't know where it came from. The bull turned around and looked at me. It looked calm, it nodded to me, and then kept walking. I could feel that it was really smart and friendly, but it didn't speak. The bull tossed its head and gestured for me to follow it. It was leading me somewhere, but I didn't know where or why. I didn't want to stay in this place. Suddenly, I felt something lift me up. I heard a voice saying, "Don't follow it." I was lifted higher and higher and I was back in the white place. It was different again from the last time. White was still the dominant color, but there were other colors everywhere, shining and feeling like they were floating in the air. "You're home now," it seems many people said to me. All of them uttered the words at the same time. I did not hear the voices with my ears. They were communicating directly with my soul. I asked, "I don't know where I am." They replied, "This is your home and your end," and they kept repeating it, over and over again. The colors pulsed with their voices. These voices tell me that my time has not yet come. It was time to go home. They assured me that it was only temporary, because life always comes around again and again. I know I am not done with my life as a human being. I still had a lot to learn, a lot to experience, and I wanted to see the people I loved again and show them how much I loved them. Then they also showed me places I had never seen before, far away from Earth, where other life existed, and I saw another planet with a meadow dotted with trees around it. It didn't look like any place on Earth because the grass was as tall as the trees. There were animals running through the trees that looked like a mixture of yaks and orangutans. It was a muscular animal that ran fast in the wild. Then I saw more and more places, some of them were special, and I realized that the universe was so huge. The Earth was like a grain of sand in the desert. Then I went back to the white energy. I told them that I wanted to go back to my body. I wanted to make sure that the people I cared about were not alone and that I could at least say goodbye. They told me not to worry, that everyone would remember me because of the impact I had on their lives. That would live on in their memories, and they would be sad for a while, but they would always get over it. Eventually, the people I love will be here too, so I shouldn't worry. I felt myself starting to get sad. Even though I felt like I was home, in a state of complete comfort and complete trust in this place, I wanted to go back to my family and they could feel what I was thinking. They continued to tell me that I was just a form that their energy had taken and that it was time to reclaim the energy. I heard a voice say, "Let me show you this." Suddenly I felt I was back in my body. I was in the very middle of my brain. I was infinitely small and surrounded by many honeycombs, separated into different areas. I could see my brain at work. There are only 3 colors here: red, yellow, and white. They introduced me to my brain. It was as if it had been divided into several different areas. They showed me where my personality was kept. Then moved to another area. I saw currents moving from my brain to my heart. It looked so simple. Like a machine. It seemed especially simple compared to the universe I had seen before. They explained to me that my body was just a machine. They said that the only reason I existed was to experience life. What I see and experience is fed back to the universe. The universe is also constantly learning, and they also told me that humans are no different from animals, and that they too were created equally. The universe wants to gather more information, and that's why there are so many life forms. They explained that it doesn't matter when you die or how you die. Life is not a competition to see who lives longer. If I die, I shouldn't regret that I died too soon. Because I will never really die, it is only my body that dies. Suddenly, I don't have any weight because I am releasing myself. I had completely left my body behind. My body was no longer mine. I had freed myself and joined them as they asked me to. I accepted what was happening. I wasn't in my head anymore. I went with them to another place where they told me stories, sang songs, told me about history and the future. It doesn't feel peaceful now, it's all happening fast. It's incomprehensible. I suddenly feel sad again. I told them once again that I didn't want to stay here. I want to be a person again, and I want to learn more. They asked, why? As if it was the stupidest thing they had ever heard. I didn't answer them. Then they said, then you'd better go back and do something. I found myself back in bed with a throat full of vomit. I coughed it all up. The sun was shining through the window and I felt very uncomfortable. It felt like the room was spinning, and I suddenly realized that whatever I had been through was over. My brain had too much to comprehend. I know I'll get back there someday, but for now I have a lot of regrets and I want to be there for my family.